Verse of the day, Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. It is imperative and important that no matter what, you find a way to persevere, you find a way to overcome the challenges that you're facing, to find a way not to give up and not to give in to the doubt or the fear of uncertainty and things not going the way that you intend them to go. Sometimes things are not going to go as planned, and that's just because simply God doesn't want them to be going as planned. He wants you to face the adversity. He wants you to face the challenges that you're facing, and the things that you're not seeing in that challenge and experiencing that he wants you to experience is why you're not getting the results. So if you understand what's going on in your process of doing, and you learn what you're doing wrong, once you start to do better and once you start to improve, then and maybe then you might see the results that you want to see after you've learned and gone through the thing. But you can't give up in the process, because giving up in the process is the easiest and most guaranteed way to not get the result. So if you want to get the result, you got to persevere. You got to overcome those challenges no matter what. And that's the verse of the day. With that being said, let's get to the charts. All right, you guys. So here we have the Monday's charts loaded up. We opened the market below 680, rejecting that 680 level, going back down to 678.9. And we bounced from there, going back into the highs of 682, where we then saw more failure. This is where I actually ended up taking my first position of the day. We got a rejection off of the 682 level, going back down into 680. I took profits a little early, however, because I thought that the market was in an uptrend, and I was very, very wrong. So we got a very strong reversal back off the 682 level, going back below 680 and closing below 679. But then we bounced from 679, going back into all-time highs, and then we broke all-time highs. So my idea was right, but I was just too early to the punch, and I actually missed out on the full downside move and the upside move as well. But we tried taking more trades later in the day. We just were not able to catch the right entries, and we were just getting chopped out of each play, both back and forth. So we ended up taking an L on this day, unfortunately, and we closed out the day red on this day. So yeah, that was Monday. We were off to a very, very rough start. It was honestly a super rough week. If you guys watched my last video, I talked about how rough of the week it was, but we made money on swings mostly, but our day trades were cooked. So we're just gonna keep going through the motions and talk about Tuesday. So let's move on to Tuesday. All right, you guys, so here we are on the Tuesday charts. Currently, we're loaded up on the Meta, ticker symbol META. And this is one of the trades we actually took a swing on. We got in at 638, and we rode it all the way back up to 672. But we caught a move on Tuesday from the 638 level, getting a bounce off that level, going back into 642, where we then took profits because it started to show some failure to hold this level, and it was actually turned into a very choppy play. So I ended up stopping out of this after taking profits, actually closer to 643/644, somewhere in that range. I took from profits, and then we fell back down lower. We actually went back higher, going back into 646. Then we got a rejection back down to 638, and it bounced off that level once again. From this point on, we weren't now watching Meta. We actually moved back to SPY to try to catch a play in SPY, because I wanted to get some get back, you know what I mean? So let's move on to the SPY chart for Tuesday real quick and show you guys what I took on Tuesday. So for SPY on Tuesday, we were trying to catch calls initially once we got a break above the 683 level, going back to 684, because I thought that after we got a break above the orb high, we showed some strength here on these previous candles. We got a retest, show some semi-strength. I was looking to just see a continuation to the upside. As soon as I got in this play, we got immediately stopped out. As you guys see this candle here, we fell back below orb high, and I wasn't tripping about that. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't take puts on this, unfortunately, because we ended up dumping from that orb high all the way back down to 679.5. And I was a little stunned, because I was just like, where is this price actually coming from? But we missed out on a pretty good move to the downside. Just got blindsided by that fake out to the upside. I mean, it held the position for a minute, but then we ended up falling back below. So we took a stop loss on that, and that was ending up a good day that it then turned bad after we took this play, because I was super confident that this was going to go higher, but it did not. So let's move on to Wednesday and talk about what we took on Wednesday. All right, you guys, here we have the Wednesday chart loaded up on the SPY chart, ticker symbol SPY. So for Wednesday, We did trade SPY. We actually were able to catch a move, but we didn't catch a big move. All right, wait, pause. We caught some good gains, but I kept trying to take a stab at SPY and catch a larger gain because it was giving me just weak signals. And all week I was getting the same weak signals, but I just could not catch it. I just could not. It was so frustrating mentally because I'm like, I know I'm right, and I was. Every time I would just see it do exactly what I wanted to do, just not right when I thought it would, right? So let's talk about it. So on Wednesday, we caught a rejection off of this orb high that we formed off 681.5, which was actually a previous pivot point in the market throughout this week. It's been a very strong pivotal point throughout this week. We took trades around this level a few times. We caught some good ones, we caught some bad ones. It's been blow after blow, back and forth. But on Wednesday, we were able to catch it going in the right direction to the downside. So we took puts here and we just rode this back down to 680. Broke 680, going back down to 679.6. Took full profits here, then we saw a quick reversal back to the upside. But then we got a sharp rejection here, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this. So I took puts back into this level. We got a quick wick down. I took some profits, but then I got trailed out of it again. So I stopped out of this position, then we tried to take it again once we got another failure here, back down to that orb level, but then we quickly reversed and pushed back out. So I lost not majority, but I lost a lot of my profit on this re-entry candle here because I tried to get another entry to the downside, and it just blew some of our gains that we made that day. So we did end the day green on Wednesday, but it did, however, take a lot of our profit just because we kept trying to go back in and get a bigger move to the downside. So that was Wednesday. Let's move on to Thursday. If you guys are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to Continue Belief. We're posting content all the time. So tap in, share this post if you guys are new. Make sure you leave a like and follow, and click the link in the bio to join the community. I'll see you guys then. All right, you guys, here we have the Thursday charts loaded up on the S&P 500 SPY ticker symbol. Here we see a rejection level coming in from the opening bell at 685. We rejected 685, failing to get closure above that level, going back down to 683.5, where we then saw orb low form. I then took a position going into the rejection of this 684 retest back below the orb, and we saw a reversal to the downside going back down into 682.8, where I then took full profits, and we just ended up range bound that whole day. So we made some money on SPY, but that wasn't the ticker symbol I actually lost off of, surprisingly. The ticker symbol I lost off of on Thursday, surprisingly, was the AMD chart. Let's talk about that. So initially, we had a very, very good start to AMD. We saw some rejections come in off of this 217.5 level. So I took puts, going off of the weakness that I was seeing coming into the market. I said, okay, cool, we'll take puts and see what happens. We took puts on this candle right here. And actually, no, this candle right here, we actually got a nice rejection off the orb high level that we formed, and we were reversing that level. However, we got the reversal, so we took profits, and then we went back to the orb high at 217.5. So we went down to 216.3. I took profits, thinking that it would go lower. I was still holding a position, but we ended up going back higher and retesting that 217.5. I added to my position. And when I added to my position, we got the instant wick above that level, and that thing just wicked and came right back down. But I wicked out of my level, so in my mind, it triggered my stop loss. So I stopped out, because look at that candle. It went up a whole $1 above my stop loss. I literally was like, I'm not gonna risk it going that high. I was trying to be very protective given the week that I was having. And so we wicked above, and then we went right back down and closed right back below the level. And I was so upset, because man, it was just a fake out, a strong fake out. These things like this happen in the market sometimes. The market's gonna do things to manipulate you out your plays and fake you out of your position in order for you to lose money. And so that's exactly what they did, and that's how I lost. However, once we got this move back down, I tried to take a re-entry to get continuation. And so we took a re-entry down here off this orb low retest. And as you guys see, it just chopped around. We went lower, but we didn't go low as I wanted it to go. And so we ended up reclaiming this level. Once we reclaimed the level, I stopped out immediately. And I was the right choice, because we ended up reclaiming this level and pushing back higher. We did come back down later, but it wasn't back below the orb low. We just retested the orb low and bounced right back off of it. So AMD was actually our loser for the day on Thursday, and it was our lose on Friday, which we're about to talk about next. So let's move on to Friday. All right, you guys, here we have the AMD chart loaded up. Ticker symbol AMD on the 5-minute time frame. And man, as you guys see, the start of the day was a very, very nasty start. And I went against my rules on this day. And that was one thing that I paid very, very close attention to. I normally don't go against my rules, but given the week that I had, I was just trying to come out on top of the week green. I was down red a little bit, but this put me back a little bit more. I was able to make my money back on the day, but it was still just a unnecessary, poorly managed trade. So let's talk about it. So essentially what happened, as you guys see, we had a very strong breakout above the previous day high, which was 218 range. We retested at 222 level. Getting a rejection there, I was just simply looking for a retest of this 219.8 level, which was the previous day demand. We got there, I took position, and we failed that level. I did not stop out, however. I let it ride back down to 218, where I then let the candle close, and then it opened and went down a little bit lower, then I stopped out. With no re-entry, I just simply stopped out because I was so upset with my poor management of this trade and me allowing the trade to go down as much as it did. It went down like 40%, which I didn't have a lot of size, but it was still just the poor management of the trade in itself. That's what I was upset about. So I had to recollect myself and be like, okay, Caleb, you got this, relax, you're good. It's the beginning of the day, so I have plenty of time for opportunity. So I moved on from that trade and I went over to Palantir, where I then saw a strong bull trend starting to form. We got a bounce off of this 177.6 level, which was a previous 4-hour demand level. We were rejecting, and we reclaimed that level after retesting it here, getting a failure to close below it. Started to form an uptrend back into the all-time highs of the day. And if you have the EMA here on, it will show the indicator forming a trend line on the indicator. So I just used that simple EMA trend line in this previous candle low as a stop loss. Got in at the bottom of this candle here at 178.4. We rode back to the highs at 179. I took profits, getting me back to break even on the day. I was able to catch this whole move back down from 178.4 to 180. However, I did not get to add to this position. I ended up taking profits around 180.6. And so this brought me back for the day, and I was just trying to end the day green. So I tried to take a position in SPY, which I ended up taking a very, very small scalp off another trend line move. We had the EMA trend line hold here on the 688 level. After we broke out above 685 and 686, we pushed higher into 688. We got a retest 688, trying to hold that level and push back into 689. If I pushed into 689, we would have made some very, very good money, but unfortunately we failed that level. I did take some profits in that candle, in that trade green as well. So like I said, we were close to break even on the day on this entirety of the trading session. So overall it was an okay session, but that first trade was what took me out. And if I properly managed my risk on that trade, I would have been able to end the day green instead of red. Well, not red, but break even, but you get what I mean. So I was still just unhappy with my first initial trade, but I moved on and I was able to maneuver and manage my positions and still have, proper conviction and thought process behind the trades I took later in the day. So I was able to execute and take action on that. So it brought me back, but again, it could have been prevented just simply by managing my risk. And that's why I preach to you guys so much, just keep your risk management in check, keep your risk management in check, keep your risk management in check, because that's probably the most important thing you can do in order to not blow your account. Especially if you're trying to be consistent, be a consistently profitable trader. You guys want to keep your risk management in check. For days like today, for weeks like today, you just want to have a consistent strategy and method that works for you to continuously be able to win long term. With that being said, let's move on to our market predictions going into next week. All right, you guys, here we have the 4-hour time frame loaded up on the S&P 500, ticker symbol SPY. So as you guys see, we had a completely crazy week, for me at least. I don't know about y'all, but for me, it was a crazy week with price action that we had bouncing from 680 to 685, going back and forth all day long. So I was very, very bullish, however, because we were holding the 680 level. And as long as we held 680, I was very confident that the market would continue to go higher. And that's what happened Friday. We were able to retest 688, closing in close to 689 and 690. We did not get there, unfortunately, but we did see that level. So what can we look to see happen going into next week? Now that we're above 685, we want to see if we can continue to hold above 685, or if we fail 685 and see lower, we can go back down lower if we do see break below 685. However, if we hold above 685, we can now retest it, bounce, and push back to 690. And if we get a retest of 690 and a possible break, we can push higher and going back above 690 and seeing new all-time highs. So the levels for next week are going to be 680, 685, and 690. Those are going to be our levels to watch. We want to again see if we can hold 685 for a bounce. If we fail 685, we want to see if we can hold 680. If we fail 680, we can push back down to 675. However, if we hold 685, we can push back into 690. And if we break 690, we can push higher. But your ultimate resistance level is going to be 690 going into next week. So those are going to be your levels going into next week. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, leave a like and comment. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are, how you guys did this week, if you guys needed red, green, or yellow. It's your boy CB. Make sure you guys trade safe. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.